Hey guys, it's Fee. So I want to attempt to do a video tonight, one that I've been thinking about doing for quite a while, and I kept putting it off because that's kind of hard to talk about. It's about as bad as my very first vlog on here. Makes me very nervous. But lately I've been seeing a lot of vlogs on weight loss and people doing the Biggest Loser challenge and just general videos about people making a change in their life weight-wise for the purposes of TTC, especially those of us with PCOS. It's a big factor. And it kind of inspired me to want to do a video on my weight loss journey. Partially for myself, partially for accountability. Hopefully accountability, and maybe it's just enough to get me going again. So I just was going to put myself out here, and I did not write any notes as to what I wanted to say in this. Normally, if it's kind of an important vlog to me, I will do that just so I don't lose my train of thought. I did not do that, so I don't know if this will go entirely unedited by the time I post it, but it is essentially whatever pops into my brain. So we'll see where this leads me. So, I guess I should start at the beginning. When I got married in 2001, I was about 114 pounds and a size 6. I am 5'5", so that will give you an idea there. It wasn't too skinny, it wasn't overweight. It was just the right size for me. I never had any aspirations of ever being like a size 0. I'm half Italian, and you've got the Italian hips. The genetics just aren't there to be a size 0. But I'm fine with that. I was healthy looking, and I had I had no problems with where I was at that time. And I would say about 2 years went by, and I had gained a little bit of weight. I think after maybe 2 years of marriage, I think I was up to about a size 10. So I don't know, that's about what, 30 pounds. So I it wasn't bad. It was, for me, it still looked healthy. It didn't look like I had a problem. The old saying, marriage will put 30 pounds on you, and it's true, because you get comfortable. You don't worry about the things you used to worry about before you were married. Plus, I was 22, 23, 22 when I got married. Wow, I don't remember anymore. It'll be 12 years this September that we're married. And just prior to that, I was in college. I was working on a bachelor's degree. I was working full-time to get my way through that. I would occasionally go out just like any other young adult, and occasionally I would hit the gym, but it was never something that I really thought about. It was never something I really had to worry about. So, because my life kept me active, my life kept me in that healthy range, I guess. And then once you get married, things change. Things change. So I was still okay. So that brought me up to 2003. And then at that point, that's where things started to become a problem. And I can look back onto it now and probably know that that's probably when my hormones started to go out of balance, unbeknownst to me. I was diagnosed with PCOS at the end of last year, and I was told that it's something I've probably had for a really long time, and it just didn't show its ugly face until the hormones got far enough out of balance for it to affect me. So telling the story, I can probably pinpoint that, maybe 2003, 2004 is when it started, because that year I gained 50 pounds in 12 months. And then the next year I gained another 50 pounds. No matter what way you look at it, 100 pounds in 2 years, 50 pounds in 1 year, that's a lot of weight for anybody to put on. And I don't particularly remember doing anything horrible that would cause that. I wasn't, downing cheeseburgers and cookies like they were going out of style. I probably wasn't eating as healthy as I should because, like I said, it was never something I had to worry about in the past. The metabolism catches up with you the more junk you put into your body as you get older. And I don't know, with me I kind of felt like it was trial by fire. Like my body really rejected and said, hey, you know what, this is what you've done all this time, so this is what you're going to get, this is what you're going to have to deal with. So if you do the math there, that put me over 200 pounds. And over the last few years, it pretty much stayed at that, but there were times where it crept up by a few pounds here and there. And at my worst, which was, let's see, at the end of 2011, I was 239 pounds. And on a frame of 5'5", that's not good. And on top of that, I have back problems, so that's really not good. But you know what, I was holding on to that last pound that would cross me over to 240 with all I've got. And I don't know why. I mean, at that stage of the game, 239, 240, what's the difference? But to me, it really mattered. I don't know, that I didn't want to see that 240. And I think that 1 or 2 extra pounds would have put me into the next pant size. And after a while, you get crazy with the clothing sizes. They really control your thoughts at that point in time. Especially for someone who used to love going clothing shopping, and at that point in my life, I hated it. It was not fun anymore. But I tried numerous diets. God, I can list them off here, but that really doesn't matter. The problem is most of the time I tried them half-heartedly. I try them for a week or two, sometimes a month or two. And if they didn't do like dramatic results, it was like, oh, this isn't working for me. Forget it. What's the point? And I'd get depressed. I still get depressed to this day over my weight. Because, it's, in my opinion, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't agree with me because everybody has their own story. But for me and my story, it's really hard to be that thin girl and then go to the pudgy girl. It's hard to know both sides of that fence. In many ways, it's good to know both sides of that fence, but for me, it really bothers me. It's not that at least I don't believe that I worry as much about what other people think of me, but I don't like me when I'm that big. I really don't. So, like I said, I tried a lot of different things. There was one there where one time I got onto a running kick. And it worked. It worked. I think I lost about 50 pounds in a year. And that was the most I had ever accomplished. But I didn't really change the way I ate. So as soon as I stopped running, of course, what comes back? Weight comes back after a while. And, when you do that one too many times, that really affects the depression too. It's hard to describe if you've never been through it, but when the weight starts going up and down and you can't seem to find a way to keep it off, it's just this endless cycle, and you start blaming all sorts of things. So that brought me up to January 2012. And I can't really explain what happened. I can't really pinpoint it. I can't really give you a thought process. And God, I really wish I could, because I'd love to bottle it up. Whatever it was that happened to me in January 2012, I would love to bottle it up and save it for later whenever I need it. But something clicked. I knew I needed to do something, and I knew it had to be both exercise and diet. I knew I couldn't get any heavier than I was. And I don't know, I think it helped that I had a couple of friends that also wanted to lose weight at the time. And we found this app. We all have iPhones. We found this app called Lose It that really helped. The concept of calorie counting and keeping track of protein counts and how many calories things are. And, you know, a lot of people find that tedious, and it is. It absolutely is. But it worked for me doing that kind of thing. And using an app that allowed me to connect with other friends, it does keep you accountable, and it does give you motivation, especially if you're doing it with friends that know how important it is, that know how important it is for themselves. And for me, I've always been a really, well, I guess you could call it motivated person to get things done once I get it in my brain. I hate the concept of failing at anything. One of these days that'll get me into trouble because no one's perfect, right? But I hate the concept of failing. And if I'm doing something with a group of people, I always like to be the one to help lead the pack. That's just me. That's the way I've always been. So it worked for me. It did. And I started eating well. I started with an 1,800 calorie diet. And I had cut out a lot of stuff all at once. Now, at that point, there was a lot of things that I already didn't do. So it wasn't like I was trying to, you know, stop drinking pop and cookies and chips and all of that all at once, because I already didn't do a lot of that. But I did end up having to cut a lot of stuff out because there were a lot of things that I thought I was eating that was good for me. And then once you are forced to become a package reader, you realize that, you know, not everything you think is good for you is good for you. So I ended up cutting a lot of stuff out, and I started exercising probably about 4 times a day. No, 4 times a week, sorry. 4 times a week is what I started with. And at the time I was seeing a chiropractor because, like I said, I also have, at least I think I mentioned that earlier, I have back problems. And the chiropractor told me, you know, an elliptical would be really good for you. Low impact, and it's going to get the parts of your body moving. That's really going to help your particular back problem. So I gave it a go. And man, I remember the first time I got on that thing, I didn't get past 5 minutes. But I kept trying. And after 1 month, I was able to stay on there for 40 minutes at a crack. And between that and the scale, between that and the food changes, in 1 month I had lost 20 pounds. And that was all I needed to keep going. It was just seeing that number on the scale. I know a lot of people, they don't like scales, but for me, I need that. I need to know how I'm doing, how if I'm doing good, if I'm doing bad. I need to see that number. And it was just an amazing feeling that I could do that if I did things the right way. And a lot of the people that, one of my friends that would see me, they'd be like, oh my God, you calorie count everything. Yeah, I did. I don't care if it was, you know, a cup of coffee. If it was going to touch my lips, it was going to be logged first. And that was the key with me. It had to be done first because it makes you realize what you're putting in your mouth before you put it in your mouth. Excuse me. Makes you realize what you're about to add on to your diet for the day. That allows you to change your mind if you need to. And by July of 2012, so in 7 months, I had lost 65 pounds. It brings tears to my eyes just thinking about that now. It just, gosh. And if I have them, I will insert pictures here. Yeah, so 65 pounds. My goal was 80. I was only 15 pounds away. And I never saw that 80 pounds. I'll get into that in a little bit. You know, I previously said I had back problems. That I probably should explain myself with that one. I have degenerative discs. It is genetic. It's something that they say I would have eventually gotten, but it started on me early. They don't know why. There's really no explanation. But my L5 disc is herniated and ruptured. And as I like to put it, L4 is thinking about doing the same, but hasn't quite done it yet. And at 239 pounds, I couldn't walk around the grocery store without hanging on a cart like an 85-year-old woman. It was horrible. My disc was herniated right down the center, so it would shoot pains down to my ankles and both of my legs. And it wasn't a constant thing, but it would happen numerous times a day. If I was on my feet for more than 10 minutes, that was a for sure thing. It was horrible. I couldn't go shopping. I couldn't wear the shoes I wanted anymore. I couldn't, walk down the street without being in pain. I couldn't make plans with friends without thinking about what I would and wouldn't be able to do. It was bad. I was at the chiropractor's office sometimes 3 times a week. And, of course they tell you, lose some weight, it'll help. And, when I'm sorry to put it this way, but when you're fat, you just don't want to hear that. When you're not fat, you don't want to hear that. It's something that pisses you off. But it's the truth. It's the truth. And it took me a long time to realize, hey, you know what, they're right, I need to try something. And they had told me, they said, even if you lose a little bit, it might make the pain more tolerable. And that's all I was looking for. I was looking for more tolerable. But when I got to 65 pounds lost, the pain was gone. It was 100% gone. I could do whatever I wanted. The friends who knew me, that saw me when I was in the pain from the discs, and they saw me after I lost the 65 pounds, they were like, oh my God, you're like 2 different people. The things you can do now that you couldn't do then. I can't even describe that to you. But, I mean, my chiropractor was amazed. He was like, you're a story I'm going to tell the rest of my patients. And the herniated disc is never going to go away. It'll always be there. If I do something or I move the wrong way, it's going to tell me that it's there. But most of the time, that's at that point, when I was at that weight, at the 65 pounds lost point, the only time something like that would happen is if I was doing something stupid. But you would think that never feeling that kind of back pain again would be enough motivation to get to my 80 pounds goal, my 80 pound goal, and to never gain it back, or at least not gain much back. I'm a big shoe girl. We won't get into how many pairs of shoes I have, but a lot of them are heels. And there was a long time there where I couldn't wear any of them. And at 65 pounds lost, I could wear anything I wanted all day long. I could run in a pair of heels down the street, and I'm not kidding. I could. I didn't hate going shopping for clothes anymore. I didn't have to look for particular patterns or particular styles or particular cuts that would hide things. Then, being the shoe girl, there was one very odd goal that I had, There were so many years there where I couldn't wear boots. And I don't mean like winter boots. I mean like knee-high, looks really cute with a skirt kind of boots. They don't make those kind of boots for people who carry any weight in their legs. And most of my weight was carried in my legs and in my belly. And The day I lost enough weight to be able to buy a pair of knee-high wedged boots, my husband would call them, insert superlative that begins with B here, boots. I was, oh my God, I remember putting them on and crying tears of joy. It you know, it was the little things with me with some stuff. I wasn't perfect. There was still weight I would love to have seen to have gone away, but I was at the point, just at 65 pounds lost, I was at the point where if I never gained another pound, if I never gained another pound and I never lost another pound, I would be fine. I would have been perfectly fine with the way I looked. So going clothing shopping was fun again. I could go to the stores that I wanted to. I didn't have to go to particular pudgy girl stores. I hated that. I cannot tell you how much I hated that. I didn't have to hide in the summer. There were years where I didn't wear shorts and I would avoid swimsuits like the plague. And last summer was great. I mean, I could do anything I wanted. So you would think all of this would be enough motivation. But like I said, I did have to cut a lot of stuff out of my diet. And by the time I was at 65 pounds lost, my daily calorie count was down to 1,200. And I don't suggest anybody go below that, nor would I ever go below 1,200 because it's not good for you. It's not healthy. And you know, 1,200 calories a day, try it. It's hard. It's very difficult. And I don't know anybody that can keep that up for their entire life, and I knew I wouldn't be able to. So I started to put back some food into my diet, and I gained back a little bit. And I hit a plateau, and I couldn't get rid of it, so I changed up a couple of things. And after about a month, I got back down to the 65 pounds lost. And I was like, well, you know what? If this is where I'm going to stay, this is where I'm going to stay. I'm all right with that. Well, as many of you know, I've been TTCing for a long time. And if you go back to my TTC story, my husband and I haven't always done everything that we should have been doing to try and solve the mystery. Everything happens for a reason, right? I think if things wouldn't have happened the way they did, you know, we wouldn't be where we're at now. But in November of 2012, I was diagnosed with PCOS. And, you know, there's really no gentle way of saying this, so I'm going to start this portion by saying that I am not, I know what I'm about to say is not the truth. I know what I'm about to say is not the way it really is. But I'm just trying to describe to you what was running through my mind at the time, right, wrong, or indifferent. I didn't know anything about PCOS at that time. The doctors kind of threw it all at me, and of course I did a little bit of my own research, did a lot of my own research. But you know, when the doctors tell you what PCOS is and what the clues are that you could potentially have it even before they test you, one of them is weight. It's a big one, actually. And you know, that's not always the case. There's a lot of healthy looking girls out there that have PCOS also. But at the time, I wasn't hearing that. All I was hearing was most women with PCOS either are overweight, or they have a hard time losing weight, or they have a hard time keeping it off. That was all I was hearing. Weight. And I was pissed. There's no two ways about it. There's no other way to say it. I was flaming mad. Because the only thing my mind was hearing was, wow, I just lost 65 pounds and my reward is a fat girl disease. I told you it was bad. And please, I'm talking about myself here. I'm not by no means am I putting that generality over everybody with PCOS, because I know that couldn't be the farthest thing from the truth. So please understand, I'm speaking what I was thinking at the time before I became educated. But that really is where I was, and I was so angry. And really, I don't think until maybe a month or two ago, even after being educated about PCOS, I don't think I got over that anger until a couple of months ago, really. And at that point, I could have went one of two ways. I could have either went crazy with the exercising and said, well, you know what, I'm going to show this thing. I'll get down to that 80 pounds. Maybe I'll get down to 100 pounds lost. But that's not what I did. I did the other thing. And I gave up. I gave up and I got angry. And it slowly started coming back. I don't know where I'm at this point. I don't know, because I'm not brave enough to get on that scale. Maybe I will soon. But I know that if my other attempts at helping the TTC process don't work soon, the doctors are going to move us on to the next steps, which is going to be, you know, more hormones, more meds, eventually IUI. And I'm fine with all that, really I am. You know, whatever it takes. But in the back of my mind, my preference would have been to have made this work with the least amount of medicine as possible. I would be so happy if we could get pregnant with me just being on metformin and progesterone therapy, which is where I'm at right now. I would be ecstatic. But if it doesn't happen, I need to become accountable with, I can't blame anybody else other than myself for the weight loss thing. You know, maybe some of it is genetic. Not all of us are meant to be, you know, rail thin. But I'm not helping my matter by getting mad and putting whatever I damn well feel like in my mouth. Especially not with PCOS. Too many carbs, too many sugars. It's you know what, it's not, it's bad for a lot of people. In many ways, it's worse for girls with PCOS. And I need to get a grip with that reality. I need to tell myself, hey, you know what, this is the cards I'm dealt. I can't ask for a redeal. So I just got to play the right poker game. So that's where I'm at. And I am hoping that this helps me become accountable. I'm hoping this helps me to get my butt in gear and do the right thing. I think some of the things that make it hard for me is I've never been that girl that can have one potato chip and walk away. I've never been that girl that can say, you know what, I'll have the broccoli instead of the chocolate. There's a lot of people that are great at that. I'm not one of them. I have to try, and I have to try hard. Even if I'm eating things that are healthy for me, then it comes down to portion control. None of this comes easy for me. But on the other side of that, you would think that starting to feel some of the back pain again would get my butt in gear. Not having back pain and helping my condition so that I can get pregnant should be enough. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why, even with those motivations, that I still have to try so hard to tell myself, you need to do the right thing. And, you know, there's probably one other thing I should mention here. Aside from those two things apparently not being enough motivation, there is one other thing about myself that I have yet to really figure out or pinpoint, or I don't know if there's a name for this that I'm just not aware of, but I've been told this by a few people that know about this issue that I have, and it's true. I know that it's true. I have a distorted view of myself. The person I see in the mirror and the person the rest of the world sees in the mirror has got to be two different people. And even knowing that fact helps a little bit, but it doesn't really solve the problem. It's never caused anything for me like anorexia or bulimia or any of those things. But I assume there's got to be some name for this out there. As an example, when I was in the middle of losing all of that weight, someone that I work with had taken a picture of me because they were so proud of what I was accomplishing. They wanted a picture, and they gave me a copy of it. And I looked at that picture, and I still saw a whale. And that's the adjective I'm going to use here because that's the adjective that crossed my mind at the time. I remember that. And I can't really explain that. I mean, I had lost probably about maybe 45 pounds at that point. Obviously, there was a huge difference. But in my mind, I was thinking, gosh, I lost X amount of pounds and I still look like this? What have I got to do to look decent in my own mind? I don't know. So that's a factor. That's a big factor for me also. You know what? This is my story. I am open to any comments and suggestions. I am open to any support I can give anybody else or any support they can give me. I'm hoping to start cutting the junk out of my diet slowly but surely because it's the right thing to do, and I'm hoping that it'll help our TTC process. That is where I'm at. I'm sure I forgot things here, but that's the gist of my story. And I think I'm going to leave it at that for now because I'm sure this video is long enough. If you're still with me at this point, I thank you for listening to me ramble and listen to me get happy and sad and angry all in the same video. I will talk to you girls later.